Welcome to Face Forward Summit, ladies. I am so excited today because today we have a special person sharing her experience with us, and I know this is gonna land for every single one of you. She is our America's supermom. She calls herself America's supermom. Her name is LaChelle Adkins, and she is here today to share with us her tips, her ideas, how she manages it all, and just give you some really good advice for how it's all possible, even around such a huge family and business and life and everything else. So, welcome to our show, LaChelle. I am so happy that we get to speak with you and we get to learn from you today.
Thank you so much. And it just feel honored to be a part of this program because I really feel that for us to come together and collaborate as women in order to move forward, so to speak, is so important and pivotal in the lives of everybody who are searching for being the best version of themselves. So I just consider it an honor to be here today.
Thank you, thank you. And please tell us, who were you or what is your background prior to becoming a mom of 15 children?
Yes. So, ironically, I was an only child.
Mm.
So, didn't have any brothers and sisters growing up. My mom was one of 12, and she was one of the older ones who was able to really embrace education. That was kind of her way out. They had humble beginnings, and
Yeah.
she was one of the first ones to graduate from college. So, education was something that was very important to her as a lifeline to have a better life. And so she really instilled that young in me as a kid. And I was very competitive academically, was in gifted classes, and I did everything to kind of strive for that
Yeah.
notoriety through academics, that validated me, so to speak. And so it was this upbringing that really played a pivotal role to my own downward spiral in dealing with depression and anxiety as an
Mm.
adult and
Mm.
managing 15 children. So I thought that I could apply the principles of being self aware of what my goals were just to
Yeah.
a family and things that were outside of my control. I thought I could control. Needless to say, I was a basket case striving for validation from others,
Oh.
family members, spouse, children, strangers, as well as always having that people pleasing mindset.
Mm.
Hmm.
Like many of us. I know so many people, including myself. I grew up
Hmm.
like that too. So I know exactly what you mean. Perfectionist,
Hmm.
people pleaser.
Yes.
Totally, totally. So tell us, how did you end up with such a big family? Because I know not all of those children are your biological children. You
Yes.
married some. So yeah.
Yes. So my husband and I had 13 together.
Okay.
So no twins, all single births. And then I have two step boys. So
Okay.
that rounds out the 15. Currently, we have 12 of them that are still at home. So their
Mhm.
ages are 6 to 30 for the 15. Yeah. So I have a kindergartner
Yeah.
and several grown children. So it's quite an experience
Yeah.
seeing life through the different ages, and how they view parenting and things like that. So it is, needless to say, every day is an adventure.
Yeah. Tell us about that. How does the typical day look like in your household, in your home?
Yes, it is crazy. Okay, that's one word that summarizes it pretty nicely. Okay, but really, we have raised our kids in a way to where they are very independent. So when it comes to school and education, we maintain a level of standards of expecting them to know what their homework is. They pack their own lunches. They don't eat school lunch. They prefer to have bring lunch from home. So we just have schedules and systems that help us to run things a certain way so that everybody kind of has that self accountability,
Yeah.
which helps it with everybody's schedule. However, we do have several that work outside the home, extracurricular activities, So the whole struggle sometimes is making sure this person's picked up on time and they go to that practice, and trying to juggle between, who's going to pick them up, and that kind of thing is the thing that can be kind of overwhelming.
Just managing all that like
Mhm.
time management and the schedules and all that must be a full-time job, right? And I know
It
that
is.
you do have business around it, so what's your superpower
Absolutely.
really? Like, tell us.
You know what? The superpower is collaboration.
Okay.
This was something that I didn't really exercise growing up. It was all about what I could do.
Mm-hmm.
I had to study. I was responsible for my grades. I was responsible for the recognition that I received based on my own work. And, I kind of had that mindset of thinking, oh, I have to be the mom that does this and does that. And needless to say, I was never looking after myself. The self care was like zero to non-existent, and all the people pleasing, whereas now I understand that it takes a team. I'm a Christian, and I look at my example as Jesus, and even he had 12 disciples. So what made me think I could do it by myself? But I think it was that growing up I never really asked for help, and so it was just not on my radar. Whereas now I'm all about collaboration. I used to be thinking, oh, I have to pick them up from practice, I have to see them at the game. Now it's like, you know what? We are all one team working together. So if I can go, I can go. If my husband can go, he can go. So we just look at it as a collective vision for how we're going to accomplish, a common goal.
That is so smart. And so I know for many of our ladies who are watching, usually
Mm-hmm.
what comes up when it comes to self-care and putting ourselves first and giving to ourselves and taking good
Mm-hmm.
care of us, like most common issue that I see is time management. Like, I don't know when I
Hmm.
will do all that. Like, my plate is already full. I have so many plates to juggle, right? I have so many
Right.
hats to wear. How do I fit that in? So what I hear you say is systems, is
Mm-hmm.
communication,
Mm-hmm.
collaboration, just
Mm-hmm.
working as a team with your family or with your
Mhm,
coworkers, your business team, whoever you need to deal with, working as a team and delegating as
mhm,
much as you possibly can, because if you were to do it all by yourself, you would just go nuts, right?
mhm.
And you will just stress yourself out and, like, fall
Been there,
sick or
done that.
something. Yeah. And I know that because what we were first talking about when we first got on a phone call was how to set boundaries. So
Mhm,
let's move into that conversation for a little bit now. How do you do that? Because I know you coach women on how to
mhm,
do that. So I'm sure you have a lot to say to that topic. So how do
mhm,
you set your boundaries in a healthy way that's
mhm,
respectful to yourself, to others, and it works?
mhm. Well, I this is a great question because it's something that I had to learn
Yeah.
over time. And the boundaries are anything that's outside of you. That includes family, children, work, whatever. And so you have to have the mindset of being proactive with your own self care. So for me, a lot of times I just didn't have a self care routine. I had a routine for how I was going to make it through each day. It
Yeah.
was the survival mode that I was in for like 13 years during the course of my depression. And I was functionally depressed. So I had this checklist of stuff that I got done, which I thought was going to fulfill me, but I still was missing something. And it was because I had given to everybody else all the time. I didn't give anything to myself.
Mhm.
So the first thing I had to learn was to put my own oxygen mask on first. So that definition is not what society says about, oh, going to the spa, having a nice, relaxing bubble bath. Those things are good routines and practices to kind of keep you in a place to where you're mindful of taking time alone in solitude, but not necessarily self care. So, self care is determining what you want out of your day, period, and out of your life. So, once you know what it is that is your purpose, because I lost that for myself. I thought if my worth was attached to the roles that I play. So if I felt if my kids were doing good in school, then that meant that validated me as being a good mom. But if they had a hang up, then it was like, oh, I'm all trying to figure out, how they're embarrassing me or what kind of reflection this is on the family. And I wasn't even able to give to my kids in a healthy way because I was concerned about my own ego, right?
Mhm.
And I was empowering circumstances to determine my happiness more so than what I felt was happy. So, in order for me to kind of come to terms with that, I had to learn that happiness was my own definition. I had to decide what it was that would make me feel I had a successful day. So it didn't go around what society said, oh, all the laundry's done, or, I got everything spick and span around the house. It was, how did I talk to my kids? What kind of relationship did I have? Did I help them succeed in their goals? Were we productive as a family? Did we do a community event where we were showing ourselves as leaders rather than just beating ourselves up all the time? So for me, the self care is taking the attitude when you first get up in the morning, because if you wait till later on, there may not be a later on. So when you get up, you have to be intentional about your day. So
Mhm.
even if that's just 20 minutes to where you're just like, you know what, I'm empowering myself to do what I feel I need in order for me to approach this day as a super mom to be able to get accomplish what it is that I choose to accomplish.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
That makes absolutely 100% sense, perfect
Mhm,
sense. Yes. I I love that you touched up on setting those intentions because that's something
mhm,
that's really, really powerful. And I learned that through a process of like learning meditation, learning,
mhm,
like how to set myself up for success first thing in the morning. And I know that intention, like the power of our thought and setting that intention clear,
mhm.
if you know how to do it correctly, it's going to
Yes.
manifest that way. It's like so
Mhm.
powerful. You just declare it and then you go about your day and it comes to you. It's
So true.
just one of those, yeah, one of those
Yeah.
amazing things. Our minds are very powerful. And so, yeah, what I like also that you said is setting those boundaries, that
Mhm,
self-care is uh like you have to have your priorities, you have to know
mhm,
what's important to you, and it's not always what we think is important because our society dictates that, or
mhm,
our family expects of us, or our boss expects of us. Like our
mhm,
priorities are our priorities, and if we can set those intentions based on that and make that self-care around that,
mhm.
that's where we are most powerful, right? And
Absolutely, absolutely.
that
Mhm,
is that is amazing. Yeah, so think, ladies, as you are watching this, start thinking where in your life you
mhm,
can maybe tweak things around or change things
mhm,
around. Where do you need to position yourself as, I am here, I'm in my power, this is how I
mhm,
want to have it, and then go
mhm.
from there, right? It's a good
Absolutely.
good time to start practicing that today, actually.
Mhm. Absolutely, right now, yeah.
Yeah. So let's switch a little bit. I know that you are a podcaster. You also are in a beauty industry, beauty business. How do you run your business around your family?
So, such a good question, because for a while, I was into this mindset like everybody else that, business and home are separate.
Mhm.
I'm going off to work, coming back, and that's part of the title America's Supermom is to embrace my family with the things that I do. So for me, my journey was my husband is a pastor. He also was an officer in the military. So I had several different platforms to where I served in leadership, whether I chose that or was I, a product of him having that duty to represent the country in such a way. So for each of those different forms of leadership, I felt like I had a different mask on because I was, had to meet the standards. The officers' wives didn't really mingle with the enlisted, and remembering all these different things. And so I just felt like I had these standards where I couldn't relax in each of those different entities because I was trying to fill this void of whatever they felt I should be doing, and I really didn't listen to my own voice.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now, as America's supermom, I have embraced that it comes with children, and it comes with boundaries, and it comes with working together as a team so that I can accomplish all that I need to accomplish. And so now I understand that I could be authentic, transparent, and people are a lot more forgiving. I mean, I believe they really are forgiving in the first place, but it's my own thought process is that, oh, I have to do this just right, or I have to do that. I'm like, hey, you know what? My kids are kids like yours. I can go in there and they're fussing and arguing over a video game. You know what I mean? And I joke about that because we need to give ourselves a little slack because kids are going to be kids. You just might be in a bad mood. You come over here one day and I'm just sweet. Me and my husband are getting along good. The next minute we're fussing and arguing. Okay. It's just what happens. So I think the power that I have to be able to be transparent is what allows me to be able to do the things that I do because it allows people to relax and recognize that that's the reality is how do we communicate when we're in a bad mood?
Mm-hmm.
How do we recognize that, we're listening to other people instead of following our own voice? What are some things that we are actively doing that we need to stop and realize that we need to do something different because we're the ones that are missing out. We're the ones that are sad, not fulfilled, and feeling like we can't be the best version of ourselves. So I like to bring truth to that. And I do that through all of my businesses and I connect them all. So it's not like, I'm this way at this particular function. I'm the same everywhere I go, which is very liberating for me.
That is so beautiful, so
Mm,
beautiful. And so
mm.
tell me, you are glowing. You are glowing today. You are beautiful. I love your
Thank
natural
you.
hair. That's so
Thank
awesome.
you.
So
Thank you.
tell me, please, um,
Hmm.
what is your go-to? What's your secret when it comes to beautification, like beauty? Like, how do you take care of yourself?
I think the secret one is sleeping.
Mm,
Okay. This is something that we minimize, and it's so important to get a good night's rest. It's your opportunity to recharge, and so much can, it really affects your skin, your state of mind. You're able to think about things that you put in your body with a state of clarity more so than just running off of robotic routine. So sleeping is important, drinking water. I'm not one for a lot of sodas or sugary juices. I try to substitute the actual fruit for the juice, and water is like my go-to. Hot teas, and I drink a little bit of coffee here and there or cappuccino, but water to me is the ticket. And having a daily routine is
mhm.
another thing, because I feel like I have control of my day. I don't feel like I'm tossed to and fro. In so many years, that was my reality. So I wouldn't even have a plan. I'd just be waiting for some emergency that somebody else had to validate me being needed. And then I just drop everything and go follow that. And now I have intention with my day. So those are pretty much the three things that, and I've just learned to drop the ego. So, if I have on makeup, okay, that's great. If I don't, it's all about the message that I'm sharing. And so for me, that really helped also because I wasn't dependent on, oh, I can't do this interview because, my one outfit's not clean. I feel like that's my go to outfit. It's like, people are here to hear what I have to say, not think about what outfit or makeup I have on.
Exactly. Plus, it's a combination of what's coming, your thoughts, what's coming from your
Mhm.
heart, what you're
Yes.
sharing. And if it's authentic, it lands with the audience. And that's what
Mhm.
makes you beautiful, that wisdom that comes, out of your
Mhm.
mouth and your smile on your face. That's what makes you beautiful. And that makeup, I mean, that's great, but
Mhm.
that's only like that icing on top, right? It gives that
Absolutely.
extra spark. But most of our radiant beauty, at least that's what it means to me, comes from the
Absolutely.
inside. Who you're
Absolutely.
being. It's a way of
Mhm.
being.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. So if you could give yourself, your younger self, one advice, what would that
Mhm.
advice be?
To embrace being you,
Mm,
because we go through society where, we're conformed to what a wife should look like. We're conformed to what a mother should look like. We're conformed to how a mother works from home and manages, um, home. Then we're conformed to working outside the home and juggling, the children. So when you are authentically you, you are able to approach life in a way that's a lot more creative, innovative, and you're able to connect with people and draw people that are like minded to you. One of the things I thought was really profound that came across my mind today was, you know, Jesus didn't follow the crowd followed him because he knew what his purpose was.
mhm.
And he was able to embrace that. And people were drawn to that knowledge and that strength just from not being distracted, to knowing where you're supposed to be at certain times, what things you read, what things come out of your mouth, what things you eat. And so for me, it's knowing who you are and embracing that. And then your tribe will be drawn to you like a magnet.
That is so powerful. Thank you for sharing that. And
Mhm.
LaChelle, I know that you brought a wonderful, beautiful gift for our
Yeah,
audience. Do you want to share with us what that is?
absolutely. So, one of the ways that I was able to overcome depression and maintain this lifestyle is a strategy that I call Fresh Start.
Oh,
So it's an acronym, and there's 5 pillars of it. I'll go briefly over the pillars, and my gift is for someone to get a free coaching on one of those pillars, whatever it is that they want to dive into. So F stands for fear as fuel. So for me, the basis for my strategy and philosophy was the mindset that I didn't want to go to the hospital again for a fourth time. I was hospitalized 3 times and I just had that fear that it would happen again. So I used that fear to figure out what was it that caused me to have this downward spiral. I really had to look at myself in the mirror. I had to recognize I was the common denominator.
mm,
I couldn't blame my husband, my kids. I had to take accountability and a self awareness that gave me the strength to begin to create different boundaries and look at things differently so that I could change my mindset and where I was going. The next letter is R, which is reframing. So many people, when they overcome past challenges, they lock them away like in a closet. And so it's like it's not a part of them. They don't want to bring it up again. They're
mm.
afraid if people bring it up. And so when you reframe, you recognize that it's those experiences that brought you to where you are today. So if I was to reframe and lock my depression in a closet, my message would be lost because that's what I'm here is to help other women who are struggling with that and being transparent about the things that are going to help them move forward. So I had to embrace that history and past, but I had to do it in a way that was empowering. So recognizing that this was a strength that allows me to recognize when I see that in other people and help coach them through it. So that was the reframe. The E is envisioning your success. So for this, I did vision boards. I had to actually have physical visual cues that helped me. It wasn't a reality of what I was experiencing at the time. So I had to have those visual cues to kind of help me get my mind into that psyche of thinking this is going to happen. what kind of things do I need to be doing? If you want that family knit feeling, that's around a dinner table. That's creating those moments and experiences so we can have those visions and have them manifested. The next letter is support group or tribe. So as you embrace who you are, where you're going, your tribe will uh, be manifested to you. And so it's up to you to kind of navigate towards like minded people who see you where you are and they're able to pour into you to help you on the journey that you're going to. So
Okay.
sometimes when we get over stuff, we try to pull our family members or people that have always been a part of our life into that tribe, and they may not be in a place where they can give you what you need, whereas somebody on the outside can. So
Yeah.
kind of having that balance and knowing that. And then the last letter is H, which is healing. So recognizing that healing is a process. I've walked around a lot of times with a victim mindset. Woe is me. I was depressed. But I ignored the fact that my children were victims. My husband was a victim. So when you embrace healing, you understand that everybody is on this journey of healing in some way or another. And you have the ability to have empathy and compassion because it took me 46 years to wake up. So I can't expect somebody else to do it in 2 weeks or 2 years. So you understand it's an ongoing process, and that healing mindset allows you to not seek the validation of other people and be able to seek out the things you need and have empathy for and compassion for others during that process.
That is so generous of you and so wonderful. Thank you so much for
Hmm.
offering that. And
Yep.
ladies, you will find that gift right underneath this video. Just click
Hmm.
on the button and connect to LaChelle, and she will then walk you through the process. So
Mm.
thank you so much for your time today. This was very informative and very deep. I am going, I have something to think about actually today after this
Awesome.
conversation. So thank
Awesome.
you so much, and thank you for being on Face Forward Summit.
Oh, I'm so honored to be here. And, even if we reach one person, that's important because that one person, just like we're in a global crisis right now, okay? So one virus has affected everybody. So one positive shift in your mind, the possibilities are endless with the lives that you can touch and transform.
Yes, yes, absolutely, I agree. And so for
Hmm.
you ladies, we wish you a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank
Okay.
you for being part of Face Forward.